Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
You're locked in to Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Sidney Crosby and the Penguins play here on the Sports for Beginners podcast. Hey, Showtime scores! The bingo game is ready to roll. Welcome to Penguins postgame. PPG for PGH, and you'd have to be here to believe it. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. The Pittsburgh Penguins were treated to a wild win in overtime against the Sabres on Wednesday. They lost to the Hurricanes on Friday. So, how did they do against the Winnipeg Jets? My name is Scott McGregor, and it's time for Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on Penguins postgame here on Sports for Beginners, and it begins now. What's going on, Penguins Nation? What's going on, Jets Nation? Shout out to our Manitoba listeners. Hope you are having a great Sunday so far. Happy Victory Sunday to you, or Victory Monday to you, Winnipeg Jets fans. The Winnipeg Jets defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-3 this afternoon at Canada Life Center, where Scott A. and Mike Sullivan were the head coaches, and Eric Comrie and Alex Nedeljkovic made their debut. That's the starting goaltending matchup for this game. Of course, they were backed up by number 37, Connor Hellebuyck, and number 30, Joel Blomqvist. But one thing I gotta ask everybody right off the jump here in our opening moments of the show, before we get down to breaking down the nitty-gritty of the program at Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba, of this hockey game, the one thing I gotta ask is, how is everyone feeling about the power play the Penguins had in this game between the Penguins and the Jets? That might be a bit of a far-fetched, way to ask a question, but how are my Penguin fans feeling about the power play, the way that they were able to strike in their only power play opportunity, I should say, of the game? Before you answer that, let me just get into the game, shall we? I mean, before we do, we've done the game's starting goaltending. We've done the game backup goaltenders. We done the venue, the head coaches right off the jump. I mean, do we really have to get into everything? Well, we're going to do so after a quick commercial break. But before we do get into that, want to issue two shout outs. Shout out to our Penguins pre-show host, Thomas McGregor, getting us ready for the Hurricanes and the Penguins in dire time right before puck drop. But he was able to get it done. And I want to issue a shout out to a good friend of the show, Sienna Trigiani, as well as our good friend of the show, Ali Musa. Ali and Sienna do excellent work on Spicy Techie. They also do some excellent work on Sienna T Radio, which is making your day brighter one song at a time. Seeing as these shows are probably going to drop tomorrow on Monday, by the time you're listening to this, we are going to get into it all. But quickly here, because we still haven't seen the games get started yet between the Avalanche and the Sharks and the Kings and the Ducks. But those games getting going in just under a couple of minutes from now. It is 7:05 p.m. as we talk to you now. So we are the sole game that is final as we talk to you now. And we're going to break it all down for you in just a matter of moments. So be sure you stick with us. Penguins postgame, Penguins Jets will return right after this. Did the Penguins stop the Jets' unbeat streak, or are the Jets still undefeated? We'll find out in just a moment. Stay with us.
Sienna Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on Sienna Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on Sienna Radio.
The Winnipeg Jets start the 2024-2025 NHL season 5-0-0 for the first time in franchise history. So there, we answer the question of whether the Penguins were able to stop the Jets, unbeaten streak and hand them their first L of the season. They were unable to do that, but on the bright side, the Penguins do get a goal on the power play. Goal came off the stick of Kevin Hayes. But before we get to the goals, let's talk about the penalties, since after 20 minutes, and this is all true, after 20 minutes, all that we had to talk about was penalties. So first off, the Penguins will receive a 2-minute minor for tripping. This one goes to number 28, Marcus Pettersson. 2 minutes for tripping. Time of the penalty, 7 minutes, 53 seconds. Jets number 6, Colin Miller, receives 2 minutes for slashing. His penalty occurred at 19 minutes and 39 seconds. 19 minutes and 39 seconds. Colin Miller is called 2 minutes for slashing. This one is against Ricard Raquel and Marcus Pettersson's hooking penalty against Gabriel Velarde. Pettersson's penalty at 7 minutes 53 seconds. Colin Miller's penalty at 19 minutes 39 seconds. After 20, shots on goal were in favor of the Jets, 11-9. All even at 16-16 apiece after the second period, but after 20, we're square at zeros. No one has scored. In the second period, Kevin Hayes makes that penalty by Colin Miller. He makes that penalty pay as he gets a PPG for PGH, and the Penguins score on their only power play opportunity as they take the early lead. That's Kevin Hayes' third goal of the season, assisted by Ricard Raquel. That is the only assist that was accompanied. Oh, never mind. There was also an assist. So Ricard Raquel getting the primary assist, his first of the season. And Jesse Puljujarvi picked up an assist. That's his fourth of the season. Jesse Puljujarvi picking up assist number 4 on the season for him. And that is part of the goal at 1 minute and 30 seconds into the second period. It's 1-0 Pens on the power play goal. Cody Glass and Erik Karlsson combine for Lars Eller's first of 2 goals in this game. This makes it 2-0 Pittsburgh. And this goal for Lars Eller, his third of the season. Erik Karlsson, EK65, picking up assist number 4 on the season. Cody Glass picking up assist number 2 on the season for him. At time of the goal, 5 minutes and 21 seconds. Penguins up 5 minutes and 21 seconds into the second period. They are up 2-0. Not so fast, Pittsburgh, as the Jets throw 3 goals on net past Alex Nedeljkovic. First one went from number 81, Kyle Connor, his fourth of the season, assisted by number 27, Nikolai Ehlers, his 4th assist of the season, and by number 6, Colin Miller, his 2nd of the season, 2nd assist of the season. Time of the goal at the time the Jets get on the board, 12 minutes, 18 seconds. 12 minutes, 18 seconds. And the Jets are on the board. It's 2-1 Pens. It's 2-1 Penguins. Mark Scheifele, number 55, ties this one up with his 5th goal of the season, assisted by Colin Miller, his 3rd assist of the season. And Nikolai Ehlers also on the assist of this one. Oh, no, sorry. Logan Stanley on the assist of this one. That's his 1st assist of the season. Colin Miller, his 3rd assist of the season. 2nd of the game Cullen Miller had his second assist of the season in the first goal that he had an assist on. He gets his third on the Mark Scheifele goal. That ties this one up at 2. 17 minutes and 36 seconds into the second period. We're tied at 2. Late in the period, number 7, VN. Vladislav, I'll just say VN. VN scores his second goal of the season, assisted by Nikolai Ehlers. His second assist of the night, 5th of the season. And Ehlers had quite a night. Ehlers had quite an afternoon, I should say. He had quite an afternoon. This has Winnipeg take the lead at 19 minutes and 29 seconds in. And at 18:13, just before that goal by VN, Adam Lowry and Drew O'Connor. Drew O'Connor will go for slashing, 2 minutes for slashing at 18:13. 18 minutes and 13 seconds of penalty time there for Pittsburgh there. And a penalty also going to Adam Lowry, number 17 of the Winnipeg Jets, 2 minutes for roughing. And after 40, all square at 16-16 apiece in terms of the shots on goal. But the Penguins do end up outshooting Winnipeg 42-37, picking up 17 shots on goal in the third. The Winnipeg Jets pick up 10 shots on goal in the third period as well. But they do get 2 more goals after Lars Eller, unassisted, jumps in with a third period game opening goal, just like he did in the second period after Kevin Hayes opened the scoring and gave Pittsburgh a 1-0 lead. Lars Eller opens the scoring in the third period at 1 minute 39 seconds and quickly ties this game up he quickly ties this one up for Pittsburgh. His 4th goal of the season. So he's got numbers 3 and 4 of the season in goals for this game. And that quickly ties this game up. No goals to speak of in the first period. It all happened in the second period and third period. Penalties do speak of in that first period. But all things considered, the Winnipeg Jets score 3 more after the Eller goal unassisted, including a goal from Adam Lowry, his second goal of the season, assisted by Mason Appleton, his third assist of the season, and Josh Morrissey, his 5th assist of the season. This quickly gives Winnipeg back the lead at 4-3, 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the third period. Mason Appleton makes it a 2-point lead for Winnipeg with his second goal of the season, assisted by Neil P, his 5th assist of the season. Time of the goal, 7 minutes, 41 seconds in. In the third period, at 19 minutes and 5 seconds, we see a penalty go to Brian Rust, 2 minutes for holding. And right before that, Penguins pull Alex Nedeljkovic, and Nino Niederreiter hits his first goal of the season. An empty net goal to make it 6-3 Winnipeg over Pittsburgh. And Josh Morrissey picks up his 6th assist of the season. Dylan DeMello, his first assist of the season. Time of the goal at that point in time, 17 minutes, 30 seconds. The rest of the game stats coming up in our next segment. But to reiterate the shots on goal here before we go to break. For the Penguins, 42 shots on goal and 37 shots on goal for the Winnipeg Jets. The Jets outshot by the Penguins 42-37, but they continue their unbeat streak. They remain unbeaten and are now 5-0-0. They are 5-0 to start the season for the first time in franchise history. More to come on Penguins postgame, breaking down the Penguins' 6-3 loss to the Winnipeg Jets in just a little bit. We are coming up on game time for the Ducks Avalanche. And of course, the Avalanche taking on the Sharks from the Shark Tank tonight. And of course, the Kings are hosted by the Ducks tonight. We are coming up on game time for those games. By the time you listen to this show, those games will be final, like this game is. But just a quick reminder, those games start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. in the UK, 2 a.m. France time, because they are at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If they were at 7 Eastern Time, they would start at midnight in the UK, 1 a.m. France time. All right. With that all being said, we're going to take a break. When we come back, game stats, my play of the game for this game, plus the 3 stars of the game. All that next on Penguins postgame. You're listening to Double Trouble, and now you are listening to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, and we'll be back right after this.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
Welcome back to Penguins postgame here. Penguins fall 6-3 to the Winnipeg Jets. Time now for the remaining game stats of the game, as the Penguins fall 6-3 at the hands of the unspoken, undefeated Winnipeg Jets. Here are the other game stats for you here right now via the NHL app. Download the app for yourself. Follow your favorite team all season long. As mentioned earlier, the Penguins beat the Winnipeg Jets in the shot total 42-37. They won 34 of 62 faceoffs, winning 54.8% of the faceoffs. The Winnipeg Jets won 45.2% of those faceoffs, 28 out of 62. Winnipeg 0 for 2 on the power play, so the Penguins penalty kill 2 for 2. their power play 1-for-1, and the penalty kill for Winnipeg 0-for-2. Sorry, 0-for-1, excuse me, because they only had one opportunity because, well, the rest was like 4-on-4. Penguins spent 6 minutes in the penalty box. The Jets only 4 minutes in the penalty box. 18 hits for Pittsburgh in this game. 21 for the Jets. The Jets blocked 25 of Pittsburgh's 42 shots on goal. The Penguins blocked 11 of Winnipeg's 37 shots on goal. 15 giveaways for Pittsburgh, 24 for the Jets. The Jets finished the game with 4 takeaways, and the Penguins finished the game with 3 takeaways as well. Time now for your 3 stars of the game. They're brought to you by, of course, we don't have a sponsor here, but if you were listening to it on the radio station, 105.9 The X, they're brought to you by your neighborhood Ford store. Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs are the official trucks of the official trucks and vehicles of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Our first star tonight, as we are recording this at nighttime, but the game was in the afternoon. The first star this afternoon, rather, our third star as we go on into it, with a goals against average of 3.1 and a save percentage of .929. It's the goaltender, Eric Comrie. Eric Comrie, number 1, Eric Comrie is the third star. Your second star today is center number 22, Mason Appleton. 1 apple, 1 goal, 2 points in the game. And your first star, with no goals, 2 apples, as the old 2-9er would say. We call them assists. But anyways, 2 apples, as I said, for 2 points. It's number 27, Nikolai Ehlers. Nikolai Ehlers, Mason Appleton, and Eric Comrie, your 3 stars of the game. If you are displeased with how that is shaken up, let us know via Penguins post-game show interactions on the Discord server, or let us know via email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. You can also let us know what your shake of the game player is going to be, who it's going to be. You can also let us know your play of the game and your game puck of the game. We're going to get to those without any introductions for this show. No introductions for the shake of the game. No introductions for the 3 stars of the game. That will be something we'll do probably next season. We're not going to do it this season, however. We're going to try something a little different instead of doing the introduction. And we will also we'll also go into the game pucks of the game right after our shake of the game. But the Jets pull away in the third against the Penguins to stay undefeated. And a pretty good example of it was their performance in the third period. I haven't seen the highlights yet. I'm going to go check them out as soon as we get out of here. Probably, maybe before I hit the sack, as Samantha likes to call it, get to bed. But speaking of that, now that we are through the 3 stars, through the game stats, before we get to the play of the game, why don't we check out what is coming up on Sienna T Radio this week? As always, we'll have our Saturday lineup, but this week, on Thursday, I'm kind of bummed I might not be able to join this because I will be busy with a thing of interest on the 24th. But if you're able to attend, don't miss the Cosmopolitan Culture Club with Sienna T from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. in the UK, and 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. in France time. And remember, UK listeners, after the show, you really must get to bed after the game. You really, really must get to bed after the show. Speaking of Samantha and the rest of the lineup on Sienna T Radio, we kick off our next Saturday with the Melting Pot as usual from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Central Time, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. UK Time, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. France Time, followed immediately after a little bit of a break by the Classical Cafe with Samantha Ash on Sienna T Radio from 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Central Time, 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the UK, and 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. France time. Followed immediately right after by the Hourglass with Robert Godridge from 3:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. UK time, and 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. in France. Robert Godridge, Samantha, and Nick have you covered on Saturday. Then the following Friday after that, on November the 1st, just gonna double check the calendar here, it's another edition of the Song Bank. Yes, it will be another edition of the Song Bank. Another edition of the Song Bank coming up on November the 1st, I believe, is coming up. Yes. It will be on November 1st. And that is from 7 p.m. Eastern Time to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. That is also from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Time, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the UK, 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. in France time, and everything else will follow in between. But with that all being said, that wraps up our look at what's coming up on Sienna T Radio. And with that being said, we are going to bring you, yes, we are going to bring you our shake of the game, and of course, our game pucks of the game. That's going to be coming up in the next segment. We do have some time to do the shake of the game, but we're going to save that for the next segment as well. So right now, before we take our next break, here's my play of the game from this game. And I could pick a lot of plays of the game right now, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the goal by Mason Appleton that pretty much put this game on ice. Actually, no. The goal by Nino Niederreiter put it on ice, but Mason Appleton put Winnipeg up by 2, and that is good enough for my play of the game. Nice little interesting shot here by Mason Appleton to score his second goal of the season. All in all, the Jets remain undefeated. The Penguins will look to try and defeat Winnipeg and split the series with them when they play in Pittsburgh later in the month of November, next month, on November 22nd, 2024, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, inside of PPG Paints Arena. Tonight's officials before we take the break: Peter Lambert, Peter McDougall, Caleb Upperson, and Travis Tomei. Scratches tonight: Hayden Fleury, Dylan Coughlin, Rasmus Caprari, and for the Penguins, Tristan Jarry, Michael Bunting, and Jack St. Ivany out for this game. Out for the Jets, as I said, Hayden Fleury, Dylan Coughlin, and Rasmus Caprari. All right, we'll take a break. Now that I've revealed my play of the game, which belongs to Mason Appleton, and we will take a break. When we come back, shake of the game pucks of the game, and what's next for the Penguins? What's next for the Jets? We will preview Penguins at Flames following the shake of the game and the game pucks of the game. You're listening to Pittsburgh Penguins Hockey, part of Double Trouble, here on Sports for Beginners. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. And we welcome everyone back to Penguins Postgame. Final segment of the program, final segment of this game. This is when we will preview the next game for the Pittsburgh Penguins, which will be, they have now played in 7 games in this 82-game season. So that will be game number 8. That is on Tuesday night against the Calgary Flames. It's a night owl game start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Part of a couple of night owl games in this game, as we roll on here on the show. We'll get into all of that in just a little bit. The Winnipeg Jets have played in 5 games and remain top dogs in the Central of the Western Conference. They defeat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-3, but the Penguins do get a goal on the power play. So, before we get into the shake of the game here and game pucks of the game on this segment, before we get in there, I want to let everyone know, and just in case you are tuning into this right now, I want to let everyone know, by the time you listen to these shows for the Penguins and the Jets, as well as those who tuned in for our Buffalo Bills Titans recap, those games will have gone final. one other game left to talk about here. That's the Maple Leafs taking on, that is the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning on Monday Night Hockey on Prime. That is a 7:30 p.m. Eastern start on Monday night. The Maple Leafs will host the Lightning. Learn more about that and if you can expect a Maple Leafs post recap on the latest episode of Maple Leafs Post Recap. That's the only game going on Monday night. 2 more games to play on this week's schedule, on today's schedule, I should say, for the game that we are recapping, and those are the Colorado Avalanche against the San Jose Sharks, and the Los Angeles Kings are in Anaheim to take on the Ducks. Game time just under a few minutes away from getting started. If you guys are tuning into that, enjoy the hockey game. And we actually are wrapping up on the other side of this. Maybe we will take a 30-second break and come back to wrap it up. But before we do, and we do any of the kind, time now to bring you my Shake of the Game. No introduction for this show here. We're going to try things out without the introduction here. So let's see how it goes. So first and foremost, I want to give 2 shakes of the game, 2 shake of the games out to the goaltenders in Alex Nedeljkovic. Nedeljkovic faced 36 shots, stopped 31 of those shots on goal. Gave up 5 goals at even strength, all of them at even strength. Finishes the game with a save percentage of .861. So we're going to give him a pick-me-up shake of the game, as well as a pick-me-up game puck of the game. And he played 59 minutes and 21 seconds. He was good right off the jump. He looked good right off the jump. Another pick-me-up we're going to give is going to go to Sidney Crosby. -3 in this game for Sid. No goals, no assists, no points. He was a -3. No penalty minutes, which is good for Sidney Crosby. But for 20 minutes and 22 seconds, -3 in 26 shifts, something's got to give there for Sid. He did not have a good night. But bright side, he had 5 shots on goal. And 1 giveaway in this game. Our Shake of the Game recipient is going to go to Kevin Hayes. A giveaway, a hit, 40% good from faceoff. 2 shots on goal, 1 of those shots going in. He was a -1, got a point, no assists. No penalty minutes for Kevin Hayes, 9 minutes and 54 seconds total. And on 14 shifts, had a power play goal in 2 shots on goal, 1 hit, 1 giveaway, no block, and no takeaways. And with that all being said, that wraps it up for the Penguins. For the Jets, the goaltender, we are going to give a pick-me-up / shake of the game. We're going to give it to Eric Comrie. Faced 42 shots, made 39 good saves. Gave up a goal on the power play and 2 goals at even strength. 3 goals given up as a result. Finishes the game with a save percentage of .929. Played 59 minutes and 53 seconds. So that's actually pretty good for Eric Comrie. So we're also going to give Alex and him we are going to give Alex Nedeljkovic and Eric Comrie a pick-me-up game puck of the game. We're going to give also a game puck of the game to not Kevin Hayes. We're going to give it to Lars Eller for the Penguins. And we're going to give it to Kyle Connor for the Winnipeg Jets. Our Shake of the Game recipient for the Winnipeg Jets is going to go to Mark Scheifele for obvious reasons. But I really, really like how Kyle Connor and Drew O'Connor both played in this game. I really like how they both played in this game. I really like it. I really like how they played in this game. Once again, our final totals in shot: 42 for the Pens, 37 for the Jets. And that will pretty much do it. We will preview the next game for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Winnipeg Jets on the other side of this commercial break. But before we actually get to the commercial break, why not preview the games, why not preview the next 5 games for both teams right now while we got this going? So, up next for the Penguins, and we'll talk more about the Penguins after a 30-second timeout, but why not talk, before we get to that timeout, about what is coming up for both teams? The next 5 for the Penguins will feature a couple of road games in their 4-game road trip in the west of Canada. Up next, they will play the Calgary Flames on Tuesday night. Then the Edmonton Oilers on Friday night. That's a late night matinee game. A late night matinee game against Calgary on Tuesday night. Thomas will get you ready for the game. I'll have the recap on Wednesday. We will have a recap Saturday to get you ready for the Vancouver Canucks and the Penguins, as we will recap McDavid versus Crosby on that night. We'll recap that ahead of Hockey Night in Canada, Vancouver versus Pittsburgh. And then, of course, the next 5 also includes home to Minnesota, and home to Anaheim, as the Penguins will wrap up their October schedule with the Minnesota Wild coming into town and the Anaheim Ducks coming into town. The Ducks will come into town and the Wild will be in town after the 4-game road trip wraps up, which will see the Calgary Flames play the Penguins on Tuesday night. That is the next action for the Pittsburgh Penguins. We will talk about Calgary and Pittsburgh on the other side of a 30-second timeout. But meanwhile, before we get to that timeout, we're almost at that timeout. We're almost there. Before we get there, coming up next for the Winnipeg Jets, they will be on the road for 3 games. They'll play Tuesday night as well. They will play the St. Louis Blues in St. Louis. They will go head-to-head. With, so they got the Blues coming up on Tuesday. Who else do they got? Let's see. Who else do they got? They got the Blues Tuesday. The Penguins have the Flames Tuesday. Then, of course, you got Edmonton and Vancouver, Minnesota and Anaheim. Who's up next for the Jets? The Jets will play the Blues on Tuesday night, but who else are they going to play? Who else are the Winnipeg Jets going to be playing in their next 5? Let's see if we could find out. let's see. Who's it gonna be? It is going to be the Kraken. They will play the Kraken next after St. Louis on Tuesday night. They'll play on Thursday night against Calgary. Against Seattle. They'll go head-to-head with the Toronto Maple Leafs on Monday night. Next Monday night, not this Monday night, next Monday night, the 28th of October. And then they will go to battle with the Detroit Red Wings in the Motor City. So, for the Winnipeg Jets, they will go head-to-head with St. Louis on Tuesday night. The Seattle Kraken on Thursday night. The Calgary Flames on Saturday night. The Maple Leafs Monday night on the 28th of October. And on the 30th of October, the Wednesday, they've got themselves a showdown. They have themselves a showdown with the Detroit Red Wings in the Motor City. Those are looking like good shows. Those are going to be good ones. Those are going to be good ones for you. With that all being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap up on the other side. The attendance record and more coming up in 30 seconds. We're previewing the Flames and the Penguins when we return to Penguins postgame to wrap up this edition of Double Trouble and this edition of Penguins postgame. You're listening to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on Sports for Beginners, the podcast. We will be right back in 30 seconds to wrap this up. Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners. Welcome back to Penguins postgame here. 30-second break out of the way. It's time to put this show on ice. Put this one on ice. Penguins fall 6-3 to the Winnipeg Jets. They've now played in 7 games of the 82-game season, and we've now broadcasted 7 games of the 82-game season, which means the Penguins now have 75 more games to go in this 82-game season. We've done the game, pucks of the game, kind of flipped it with our shake of the game. We've done the play of the game. We've done the scoring, done the penalties, done the game stats, all of that good stuff here on Penguins postgame. It is now time for us to wrap it all up. So I just wanted to let everyone know you guys can catch me next time on Wednesday on Penguins postgame. You can catch me on Wednesday on Penguins postgame after the matinee game at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. And just wanted to make that very clear. That's a late night game. Game will start at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So looking forward to that one on Tuesday night. That's going to be a big one. But the Penguins probably will definitely have to win, especially when it comes to the division, in which they now sit in the division right now. They now sit fifth in the division with 3 wins and 4 losses and only 6 points in the division. So, with that all being said, the Penguins will get the Flames on Tuesday night. That is the next time we are going to talk to you. I will talk to you on Wednesday for Penguins postgame. Today they fall to the Winnipeg Jets, trying to make sure the Winnipeg Jets do not, and I repeat, do not stay undefeated. They unfortunately could not do that. But congratulations to Alex Nedeljkovic and Eric Comrie on a very interesting game going on. A very interesting game going on this afternoon at Canada Life Center in Winnipeg, Manitoba. That was the site of the game. And unfortunately, the Penguins they lose 6-3 to the Winnipeg Jets. Your referee for this game, I went over the officials early on, but just to go over the referees one more time. Referees for this game, Peter McDougall and Pierre Lambert. Winnipeg wins the game in front of 13,760 fans in attendance. Up next for Pittsburgh, it's Calgary. We're going to the Saddledome to play the Flames. The Penguins are going to the Saddledome to play the Flames. Game time is 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Post-game show will come your way on Wednesday. Hope to see you then. You'll also hear me on Weekly in Sports on Wednesday. If the shows don't drop on Wednesday, or one of them's going to drop on Thursday, the other will drop on Wednesday. If both drop on Thursday, you'll hear my recap on Thursday ahead of quite a contest between McDavid and Crosby on Friday night in Edmonton. And as mentioned, the Penguins get Hockey Night in Canada night this coming Saturday as they will take on the Vancouver Canucks. They will take on the Vancouver Canucks in the nightcap game of Hockey Night in Canada this coming Saturday. Looking forward to what will transpire in that one as well. But one game at a time. One game at a time. The Penguins will come back to play. The Penguins will come back to play at home against Minnesota and Anaheim following their 4-game road trip conclusion in Vancouver on Saturday night on Hockey Night in Canada. It's a Hockey Night in Pittsburgh next Tuesday night on the 29th of October. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You have just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, and part of Double Trouble. Double Trouble will return in a couple of coming weeks when the Penguins are playing at the same time as the Buffalo Bills. But stay tuned to our website, or rather our Facebook page, for updates on when Double Trouble will return. You can also follow the podcast right now on Discord. Subscribe to our Discord channel and make sure you get into the Penguins post-game show interactions tab to interact with us and give us your game pucks of the game, your shake of the game, your play of the game, and more, all within the Penguins post-game show interactions. All right, well, when it's time for the Penguins to play hockey, it's always a great day for hockey. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for Pittsburgh Penguins hockey here today, and that is going to do it for Double Trouble. My name is Scott McGregor, saying love one another. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on Sports for Beginners, the podcast, and I want to remind you all that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. I will catch you Penguins fans after the game against the Flames. I'll see you Wednesday to recap Tuesday night's game between the Penguins and the Flames. Looking forward to seeing you then. We will see until then. We will see you next time. I'm out, everybody. Good night. And remember, let's go Pens. Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has just left the building. You've just listened to Pittsburgh Penguins hockey on the Sports for Beginners podcast. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners or visit the official Sports for Beginners podcast website. Thanks for listening, and until next time, stay tuned. And remember that it is not goodbye, it is until next time. And you'd have to be here to believe it. Thank you so much for checking in to Penguins postgame this season, Penguins fans. Your host of the Sports for Beginners podcast, Scott McGregor, here. I just wanted to let you guys know that it brings me great joy to bring you a show like the one we brought you last year, and it brings me even more joy with everything that has come out of it as well. As we try to navigate through quite a year with milestone after milestone in the month of October and the month of September. As mentioned again, my name is Scott McGregor, but if you have any questions, any concerns, any content you want aired on the program, please send me an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. Once again, that's sportsforbeginnerspodcast 8231@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast and for listening to this episode of Penguins Postgame. We will see you next time right here on Sports for Beginners. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.